Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF, Bava Kamma DAF Yates. We are up to the fourth line off the top of the Amid Boy Ravashi. So, yesterday we learned about tzreiros, which pretty much means that, typically when an animal just walks across the road and causes damage in that manner, in a regular manner, it's called a regel, in which case you're fully responsible, provided it did it directly, begufa, through direct contact. But suppose, as it's walking along, it propels some pebbles, it shoots tzreiros, which cause damage. That secondary damage, that indirect damage is called tzreiros, in which case the Halacha Sinai tells us you get a 50% discount. That's the shita of the Rabbanon. Sumchas holds no, it's always 100% responsibility. No discounts. Now comes a shayla. Suppose there was a shinui, something irregular. It wasn't just by way of, regular walking. The animal deliberately flicked some stones. It kicked. It exhibited, sort of aggressive behavior. Boy Ravashi. So Ravashi wants to know, what happens there? Shall we say, just like by goring, which is aggressive behavior, it happens the first or second time around before it becomes a muad, you get a 50% discount. So perhaps over here, you get a 50% discount of the 50% discount to begin with. So it's a total of just 25% payment. Boy Ravashi. Yesh shinu litzreiros. Do we reckon with that deviation? In which case it drops down to half the amount. Oy ein l'revia nezek, in which case it's a total of just 25%. Oy ein shinu l'tzreiros l'revia nezek, or perhaps no, there's no such thing of a tam paying less than 50%. So basically, by goring, by negicha, the starting point is 100. A tam goes down to 50. So perhaps over here, by tzreiros, starting point is 50. It should go down to 25. Yes or no? The Gemara responds, Tif shelei midrava. Perhaps we can resolve this question based on Rava's equation. The boy Rava had his own question. Yesha adol litzreiros, or ein adol litzreiros. This was in yesterday's daf, right? Mu'at. Does it apply to tzreiros? Meaning, if it becomes a regular thing, becomes habitualized over and over again, does it go up to 100% liability or not? Now, apparently, if Rava is suggesting that it goes up to 100%, apparently the starting point is 50. And once it becomes regular, it goes up to 100%. Michlal de ein shin, apparently there's no concept of 25%, otherwise we'll never get up to 100. Well, says the Gemara, Dilma, Rava intim Thu May. Perhaps Rava had both questions in mind. You can't build on Rava's question and determine based on that why he would hold by shinu litzreiros. Perhaps Rava wasn't sure about both aspects. He had two sveikes. He had Rav Ashi's question. When it's mishuna, when it's unusual, do tzreiros drop down to 25? That was one question. Now, if on the assumption that you say no, there's no shinui, it's always set at 50. If you'll suggest ein shinui, there's no concept of going down to 25. So the benchmark is 50 when it's first or second time around. The question is, does it get upgraded if it becomes habitualized? Yeishada, to take it up to 100%, or ein hado, we leave it unresolved. By Ravashi, this we had the other day as well. According to Sumchas, that tzreiros don't give you any discount. So koicha is like gufa. What about koyach l'sumchas ma koycha dami? Oiloi. What about twice removed? The animal hits item A, which jumps onto item B, which now propels that item B, which strikes item C. Twice removed. Is it like koycha, like once removed? In which case, just like by koycha, you pay nezek shalom. The same with koyach koycha iloy. Perhaps no. Koyach is different. Mi gamar halacha. Does Sumchas subscribe to the halacha mishmi Sinai that there is some sort of discount by secondary, by indirect damage? And he just applies it to koyach rather than koyach. Perhaps like Gam halacha klal teiku, perhaps he doesn't have this halacha mishmi Sinai in his repertoire at all. In which case, whether it's direct damage, koyach, it's all the same thing. We leave it unresolved. So the Mishnah gave us examples of cases where you pay only chatzi nezek. Kaisam ba'etes, or was kicking, Or as it's walking, it propels some pebbles, which breaks kalim, you pay half. You boil questions like this. Bava Kamma, what did the Mishnah mean to say? Does this sentence reflect two scenarios, two cases? Number one, the behemoth decided to kick and damage in that manner through direct contact by kicking. And that's a derivative of keren, it's aggressive behavior. You pay chatzi nezek. The second case is or as it's just walking along naturally, striding along, it flicks some pebbles, which cause secondary. That's also mashal chatzi nezek. For Rabbanani, and this reflects shitas Rabbanan, that tzreiros is chatzi nezek. Or perhaps the Mishnah means something else. Case number one, the behemoth is kicking and damages. Case number two, or as it's kicking, it propels some pebbles, which is an unusual, tzreiros situation. It's not just, the regular, it's irregular. In this case, in both these cases, mishal chatzi nezek, because these are expressions of keren, kicking, right? It's an aggressive stance. But were it to be doing its regular thing, just nonchalantly walking across the street and generating tzreiros, you'd pay nezek shalim. Because this is Sumcha speaking, who holds that tzreiros of regulars, nezek shalim. So, who's speaking in the Mishnah? Is it the Rabbanon or Sumchas? Tashma, Miseif. We have arrived from the safe. Dar sala klish varatu. So it steps on item one, breaks it. Nafal hashever. Al kli achar shvari, and a piece of that broken vessel ricochets and goes and breaks vessel B. Right, ushvari. So now you have two broken kalim. How much do you pay for each? You pay 100% for the first one because that's just plain regal. For vessel B, you only pay 50% because that happened through tzreiros. It happened indirectly. Now, if you're going to tell me that the Mishnah is Sumchas speaking, since when does Sumchas hold of chatzi nezek by tzreiros? So apparently this Mishnah is the Rabbanon. Perhaps we'll say, no, it's Sumchas. And when the Mishnah speaks about item number one, which was damaged, and item number two, it really means that there were three items. It stepped on item number one, which now got propelled and smashed into item number two, which smashed into item number three. The Chidim Raps will say, Rishon, when it says Rishon, you pay nezek shalom for the Rishon, it means the first that was damaged through ricocheting. Rishon lahataza. And the reason why you pay nezek shalom because it's Sumchas. Sumchas holds tzreiros is nezek shalom. V'sheni, when the Mishnah describes the sheni only requiring chatzi nezek, that's the third kli. The second ricochet. Sheni lahataza. And that's koyach koyachai, right? V'shani lo Sumchas. And Sumchas differentiates between koyachai and koyach koyachai. So perhaps this Mishnah is Sumchas. And it's going to work as well. Well, says the Gemara a minute ago, we weren't sure whether Sumchas makes any distinction between koyachai and koyach koyachai, right? Rashi had a question before. Koyach koyachai, the double koyach, right? The Sumchas ki koyachai dami. Is it treated like koyachai, nezek shalom, or lo'av ki koyachai dami, or not? Treated like koyachai, in which case it's only chatzi nezek. So according to your pshat in the Mishnah, it's pretty clear. Tiv you can resolve that question. The lav ki koyachai dami. Koyachai is different than koyachai. You only pay chatzi nezek. So what was Rav Ashi's question? Answers the Gemara, because Rav Ashi had a different pshat in the Mishnah, different than what we just learned. Rav Ashi k'Rabbanan mukila, because Rav Ashi in fact learns that the Mishnah is the Rabbanan speaking, nothing to do with Sumchas. Uboy lahachi, and Rav Ashi in fact had the following question in our Mishnah. When the Mishnah says it was kicking along, what does it mean? Case number one is that it was mazak through direct kicking. That's keren. Or second case of chatzi would be the animal just nonchalantly walking across the road and it flicks some pebbles. That's tzreirus of regel, unintended tzreirus, for that you also pay chatzin nezek. That's one shot in the Mishnah. But let's make a deal. Ha machmas biut. If the tzreirus would have been propelled by way of biut, by way of kicking, aggressive behavior, that's tzreirus of keren, it would go down to 25%. Rivia nezek, shina, because deviation, irregularity, gets you down to 25%. That's one way to look at it. Oidilma. Right, so basically, Rav Ashi's question before, the question we started our DAF today with, that child of Yesh Shina L'Tzeres is really based on how to learn the Mishnah. One way to learn is yes, Yesh Shina goes down to 25%. Oidilma, perhaps no. Any Tzeres is Chatzinez. It was kicking and it was mazak like that, directly. Or it flicked Tzeres through Biut. Again, irregular Tzeres. Chatzinezek ve'en shini. In both cases, you pay chatzin, despite the fact that it was an irregular expression, and there's no concept of shin of going down 25%, take it, we leave it unresolved. So basically, we have lots of shaylas today regarding tzreirus. Shinu b'tzreirus, does it take it down to 25% or not? That's one question. Habitualized tzreirus, does it go up to 100%? Another question. According to Sumchas, is it true like koiche or not? It seems like in all cases we leave it unresolved. Rabbi Abba Bar Mamel had a question from Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Ami, some say he asked him Rabbi Chia Bar Abba. Listen to this case. So we have this, chutzner of the nizuk, filled with gravel. Your animal takes a walk. It's quite impossible for it not to, flick around these pebbles as it's walking. So now the question is, if the animal decides to kick around the tzreirus in an aggressive, an expression of aggression, shall we say, Maus, what's the halacha? If it was mazik in that fashion, Kivan the Efshala Urchihu, shall we say that since it's quite impossible to walk through the place without kicking around these pebbles, so it's considered regular, it's expected. In which case, has a din of tzreirus of regular, you pay 50%. Or dilmo, perhaps hashtamia machmas biut kamanatzo. Fact is, right now it's engaged in kicking and flicking, intentionally flicking. That's a tolda of Karen. So if you say that by shina of tzreirus you go down 25%, in this case as well, machmas biut kamanatzo, tzreirus, take it, we leave it as a question mark. I have a question. Tzreirus of regel. I understand, you only get hit 50%, but ultimately, it's an expression of regel. It's regular behavior. It's expected behavior, and we know that regel is potter in shus rabim. You only chayiv on shein v'regel if it's in the chutzner hanizak. So what happens if the tzreirus of regel? What happens in the street? Are you chayiv in shus rabim or not? Boy minei Rabbi Yiri Rabbi Zera. Hoy some halachas b'shus rabim. The animal's walking in the street. V'tiza v'zika, and sprays some pebbles in his masak. Ma, what's the halacha? Chayiv or potter? L'keren midaminillah. Should we compare it to keren? Because ultimately, you're paying the same amount like keren, 50%. And you're liable even in the street. Or perhaps told it the regular. Fact is, it's an expression of regel. Upatur, and you potter in the street. Amalei. Mistavra, it's probable to say that yes, told it the regular, and therefore you potter in the street. Next question. It is a b'shus rabim. It's a unique case. The pebble was propelled by the animal in the street, so that's where it took off, but it only landed in the victim's private, domain, in the Rishus HaYachid. So, Mao, what do we look at? We look at where it took off, the launching pad in the streets, or your putter, or do we look at where it landed? In the Rishus HaYachid, you're chayiv. Mao. Amalis, he says, of course you're putter. Akira Enka. You're not liable for the, propelling of that pebble, because that occurred in the street. So if the akira, the lifting off, the taking off, is not related to you, is not billed to you, then hanocha yeshkan. How do you get hanocha? How are you going to be obligated for the pebble landing on the other fellow's property and damaging it? If you're not responsible for shooting it, how are you responsible for it landing? Esve, so you had a kasha on that. The animal is walking on the road. V'itiza, and it flicks on pebbles. Wherever it is, in a private area, in a public area, chayv. My love, so we're not assume. Hitiza b'shus harab, mizik b'shus harab. That it flicked and it caused damage in the same place in shus harab. So you see, that's Rosh Chayv in the street. That's a kasha on you. Lo, you know, we're speaking hitiza b'shus harab. It flicked in the street, but it landed inside his backyard. Mizik b'shus hayach, and therefore you chayv. Well, what do you mean? You just told me. Haven't you just told me that you're potter in that case as well? Because akira ain't kan anocha yeshkan. How could you be chayv on the anocha if you're not chayv on the akira? Amali Hadribi says you're right. I'm going back on that. I'm changing my mind. So if the flicking and the damage takes place in the street, you're potter. Regal in Rishus Rab is potter. But if the actual damage takes place in the chatzar and izik, you're chayv. Esvi had a kash on that as well. Dor salakli shvaratu. So you have the Mishnah back on the Yazayin. Animal trampled on a kli, broke it. V'nafal hashever akli achor shvari, and a part of that kli now got propelled and damaged another kli. Al rishon mishalom nezek shalom. On the first one, you're fully responsible, direct regal. V'al achron shalom chatzin nezek. On the second one, it's raiders. You pay 50%. For Tanielo, we have a brayta which explains this Mishnah. But med v'amur, when does this apply? B'shus hanezek. It took place in the victim's territory, as per shein v'regal. Aval b'shus rab, but if it took place in the street, we know regal is potter in a public area. Al rishon p'tura. So he's totally exempt. He's totally potter. He's absolved from any liability on the first kli. That's regal, just a rab. But you're chayev for the second kli, which was damaged by way of tzurayres. My love, we're assuming he tiza b'shis rab. Everything took place in the street. The ataza, the azaka, everything. So you see that regal generates tzurayres, which are chayev b'shis rab. It's a kash on you. Lo, no. He tiza b'shus harab, izik b'shus hayachid. The thing was flicked in the street, but it landed in his backyard, and that's why he's chayv shus hanizik. But you just told me that you can't split the two. Va'amrus, you just told me akira einkan, anocha yeshkan. How can you be liable for the hanocha if you're not liable for the akira which took place in the street? Amalei Hadribi says I changed my mind. Eini. I have another question. Va'amr Rabbi Yehuda tells us ein chatzi nezek chaluk loy l'shus hayachid l'shus harabim. So this is a statement presented by Rabbi Yehuda that appears to be saying that whenever there's a chiyuv to pay chatzi nezek, doesn't matter where it is, in the street, in the Rishus Hayach, Rishus Rab. So it sounds like tzreiris of regal is chayiv in the street. Ma'ila, shall we not assume what he meant to say was he's hitza b'Rishus Harab, he's b'Rishus Harab. It flicked a stone and it damaged in the street, so you're chayiv for tzreiris in the street. Lo, no, he tiza b'shus harab, same thing. He tizik b'shus hayachid, damage took place in shus hayachid, that's where you're chayiv. But Arms, you just told me you can't be chayiv on that either. Akira enka, nocha enka, yeshkan. I'm only hadribi. I changed my mind. Iba same another pshat in Rabbi Yehuda. He wasn't referring to tzreiros. Kiyam Rabbi Yehuda Karen is just referring to an animal goring, and this is a discussion later on that Rabbi Yehuda meant to say that you should know that you chayiv on actual goring, direct damage in shus harabim, and he wasn't speaking about tzreiros, so it's unrelated to our topic. Okay, so bottom line is, it was a question regarding tzreiros of regal. Are you chayim shus harabim? Do we equate it to regular regal, which is potter in the street? And the answer was you're potter. However, if the stone was flicked into the nizak's territory, the Gemara seems to hold that you're chayim, because that's where the damage occurs. Continues the Gemara with a story. Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, Nesiya, you're sitting, Rabbi Yosha, they're both sitting, Akilod, Rabbi Yehuda, Nesiya at the entranceway to Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya's home. Nafak Milsim Benayu, so there was some sort of conversation, and one of them asked the other one the following question: Kish shab is nava. What if the animal, wags its tail and damages something by way of doing so? It happened in the street. Is that called regular behavior, or like regal? In which case you're put in the street or not? Amalei, so the other, Amoira responded. Amalei idach. What do you expect from the owner? Of course you're put in the street. You want him to, clutch the animal's tail as it's walking through the street. Of course he's not responsible for that. It's like, regular walking. So if so, why is the owner responsible if his animal kills somebody by way of keren? Nami, there as well you have the same argument. Want him to, holding his animal's horn all day? Hachi hashta. No, big difference. Karen lav urchi. A Karen is not the derech for an animal to do, and therefore it doesn't have a din of regal, and you chayiv for that. But urchi, here it's a derech for the animal to wag its tail, so in we consider it like regal and you put on the street. Says the Gemara, so if you're so clear that it's expected behavior, it's regular behavior. There's always the question. Kishkush, you said the question was whether in a case where he wagged his tail a bit, too elaborately, and was mazik in that fashion. That was a question: is it considered unusual and it's like Karen and you chayiv in the street, or is it considered like regal? And the answer was like regal. Boy Ravena, similar question. Kishkush about masamau. Let's say the animal wagged its the amma, the male organ, and was mazik and caused damage in that manner. Miyamin, shall we say, mida dahava Karen. Perhaps it's like Karen and you chayiv in the street. Why? Because it has similar properties. Karen, just like Karen lav yisuk. Over there, isn't it based on the yetzer, which is pushing it to act aggressively? Achanam here as well. Ishna, it's a desire which brings about this type of act. In which case, it's comparable to Karen. Oidilma, perhaps no, big difference. True, the yetzer is generating both things, but here it's not aggressive behavior. Karen is kavanas lahazik, trying to cause damage. It's different. Then in this case, and kavanas lahazik is just regular animal function, and therefore there's no din of Karen. Take it, we leave it unresolved. Hatar negoylin mu'adin lahalach kedakon l'shaber. So Mishnah speaks about a tarnagol who had some sort of delil, some sort of strap, which was mazik. Rav Huna leishana. When does the Mishnah say that you're only liable chatzi nezek for damage resulting from that delil? Ela sheniksha me'elav. That the delil, sort of got strapped on by itself, got caught onto the leg of the animal, of the chicken, the tarnagol, and caused damage. Aval kashori adam. But let's say a person actually, willfully took his strap and tied it onto the animal's leg, and it caused damage. Chayiv, and you chayiv 100%. Right. So we're assuming that what happened was somebody tripped on this thing. It created, like an obstacle. It's like boyer, right? You created an obstacle, and you're chayiv 100%. Asks the Gemara, 1 second. So the Mishnah is speaking that it happened on its own, so you only pay 50%. Niksha me'elav man chayiv. Who's going to be chayiv? Who are you holding responsible? Ilim ebalat dlil, the owner of the dlil. Why is he responsible? Ida atzne, if he put it in his drawer, he hit it well. Onasu, so it's not his fault that the animal came up with it and tied it onto his leg and caused that. What do you have from the owner of the strap? Ila atzne, if he left it out, please share you. He's fully responsible, right? Because he put a burr in the street. So why chatzi nezek? El chayiv bar tarnagol. Oh, apparently we're speaking that the owner of the tarnagol is chayiv. And what do we say? That the only way the Baal Tarnagol pays 50% is in a case where it was Niksha Me'elav. It happened on its own. The Tarnagol grabbed the thing and used it as a burr. But if he actually strapped it on the Tarnagol, he pays 100%. Why? So 1 second. So if the animal just got entangled in this glue, so you hold the owner of the animal responsible. Why not 100%? In describing the making of a bar, the Torah relates it to a person. So if a person digs a bar, he's responsible. If it's sure, if his animal, in this case the tarnagol, created an obstacle, he's not chayiv, the owner's not chayiv. So just like you're not chayiv 100%, you're also not chayiv anything. Chatzin as a knami. There as well, apply the same, pasuk. Ish bar v'lo shar bar. So why is the owner responsible? Oh, so now we sort of shift in our understanding of the Mishnah. No, nobody stepped on it. Nobody tripped on it. It wasn't a bar. He used the strap to strike at something. That's what happened. Just like, it's like stray race. Indirect damage, right? And the Mishnah we fully understand. What happened was that the tarnagol took the strap and hit something with it, or threw it at something, right? So it's stray race. He tossed the strap and it flew onto something and it was mazakit. So the owner of the tarnagol is chayiv chatzi nezek, like stray race. Straightforward halach. Oh, when Rav Huna made that distinction between a case where it happened on its own, or no, he was going on the Mishnah, Ba'al Me'itma, he was going on something else. Anu halacha. Here we go. It's Lil Hefker. There's a sort of a strap sitting in the street, belonging to nobody. And somebody tripped on it. Amar Rav Huna, Niksha Me'elav Pater. So, let's say there was a dlil sitting around, and the tarnagel got entangled in it, and now it's hanging on the tarnagel's leg, and somebody tripped on that dlil while it's attached to the tarnagel. So Niksha Me'elav Pater. If this entanglement happened on its own, so nobody's responsible, because the animal made the burr. There's no human involvement in creating the burr. But if a person took a dlil and tied it onto the tarnagel's leg, and then it created an obstacle, and somebody tripped, he's chayev, 100%. Why? Mishumay chayev. Why? Because the fact is, it did not create. Sure, the person was acting, recklessly, irresponsibly, by tying this thing on the tarnagel, but ultimately the damage did not occur here. Rather, where the tarnagel, pulled at a different location where the animal took the dlil to, there it presented a burr. So why are you holding the person responsible? Back on that vav. Remember, we had the Gemara there that added some more cases based on the last phrase of the Mishnah. One was boir hamisgalgal. So a person places something which can create a potential pitfall, an obstacle over here, and the animal or a person went and kicked it elsewhere, and over there it tripped somebody. You're chayiv, even though you didn't actually place it in the new location, because you should have expected that to happen. So here as well, if a person actually ties this thing onto the tarnagel, which is now transported elsewhere, and presents a burr, presents as an obstacle, and causes damage, you're chayiv, 100%. So we discussed regel. Now we proceed to shein, damage by consumption, by eating. Okay, so the shein mu'edes. In which way is shein considered a mu'ad, and you pay 100%? The answer is lechel saroy lo. The animal eats something which is suitable for it, something edible. For instance, a behema mu'edes, behema is expected to eat lechel, peres, v'yirakos, right, fruits and vegetables. Achel ksusay kein. Let's say had a garment for lunch, or a kli, mishalim nezek, chatzi nezek. That's something unusual. It's irregular. It's a keren. It's an act of aggression. But when do we hold you responsible for a shein? Only b'shus hanizak, if it took place in the nizak's territory. Abishus harabim, they're a potter. But even in the street, the animal benefited from it. You saved it saved you expenses. Mishalamas mashanenes, you pay that hano ketzah, for instance. Ketzah mishalamas mashanenes. When do we say you pay only the hano? If the animal ate off the street, so that's a rishus harabim. So you only pay what you actually benefited. Mishalamas mashanenes. Mitzida rochav, if you ate from the side of the street, which is considered rishus hayachid, the chatzar nizak. Mishalamas mashizik, you pay actual damages. Another example, pechas hachanus. If the animal ate off the front of a store that's in the street, mishalamas mashanenes, you only pay what you benefited. Mitayach comes from inside the store, that's chatzar nizak. Mishalamas mashizik, you pay actual damages. Tanuraparan. Hashein mu'edes lechol sorei lo. Shein is liable to eat something which is edible. Ketzat, for instance, behem walks into your friend's backyard. Va'achla eichlan huruin lo, v'shasa samashkan huruin lo. Ate and drank things which are suitable for the animal. Mishalon, you pay 100%. Likewise, an animal. Entered the chatzan is betar for behema, v'achla basar, devoured its prey, it ate the flesh. Mishalon nezek shal. Here we have examples where animals are eating something which are not necessarily, its first choice. It's called achila al de'at. It's edible, but it's not its regular menu. For instance, a cow eats barley. A donkey ate beans. A dog had some oil. These things are unusual. Still, mishalman, you pay nezek shalom. Arapapa, why? Now that you just told me, even something which is not, its first choice, but nevertheless it would eat it when it's, desperate. So that's called a proper achila. Even though today is not desperate, but since it's something which is theoretically, served to him under certain circumstances, he'll have it as a meal if he needs to. So it's called achila, even though today is not desperate. Based on that, we'll know as follows. Hai shunra, more examples. V'achila de'atchak. Hai shunra, de'achal tamri. If a cat ate some dates. V'chamra de'achal binisa. A donkey had a fish. M'shalom nezek shalom, he paid nezek shalom because he's achila is de'atchak. But that's because these things are still edible, as opposed to ksus, v'kelim. These things are totally inedible. Even like de'atchak, you won't have it, and therefore it's just considered an act of aggression, act of keren. You have a story of a donkey. So he devoured the loaf of bread, which was sitting in a basket, the palsil sala, and he chewed up the basket as well. So Rabbi says, look, pay the full value of the bread, that's shane. Regarding the basket, 50%. Because that's something unusual. It's not his regular menu. Says the Gemara, May. Why? It's expected. Once he sticks his head in to get the bread, he'll damage the basket. It's also a derech l'flusi salad to damage the basket. And says the Gemara, it happened successively. First he had the bread, and then he came back, the polis, and then he chewed up the basket. So therefore, it's considered, a keren. It's an act of aggression. Asks the Gemara, but bread is considered regular. Upas urchayu. It's a derech of the chamor to have bread, and therefore it's considered a regular nazik of shame. For a minute, we have a kasha from a brayso. Ochla pasu basar v'tafshil. So the animal had some bread, some meat, or tafshil, some sort of cooked food. Mishalom chatzin nezik. You pay only half. My love a behema. Perhaps we're speaking about a behema. So we see it's not the derech of the behema to have bread. Loi b'chaya. We're speaking about a chaya, which doesn't have these types of foods, and therefore it's chatzin nezek. But a behema, like a chamor, it is expected. Ask Gemara, why wouldn't an animal? Why didn't a chaya have basar? A chaya basar uchiyu. It's a regular part of his menu for the chaya to have basar. Why not? The matvi was speaking that it's roasted, it's barbecued. He doesn't eat barbecued food. This brayso is speaking about a deer. Rashi says a deer is not darker. It's not the derech to have pas or basar. But same another pshat la'olam behema. This brayso is speaking about a behema. So why is eating of pas and basar not considered derech? We're speaking that the item was sitting on the table. It's not as derech to go and eat it off the table, and therefore it's considered something unusual, and then you pay chatzin nezek. Okay, so we spoke about tzreiros. We had one question, another question, a third question. Do you say shina l'tzreiros? Do you say koichai is different than koichai? What happens about a mu'ad of tzreiros? Tzreiros in the street? You're pata. What if it flicks something into the shusayachid? There, you're chayev. What about the animal wagging its tail excessively? Kishkesaba masa. We have the story with the delil of the tarnagol. And regarding shane, well, if it's a derech, even derech adayatchak, it's called shane. Otherwise, it's called an act of deliberate aggression and mazik of keren, which has the din of chatzi nezek. All the best to you and much hatzlacha.